Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher. I have a DIY or do it yourself remedy for you for those people who have been having issues with ants. I can speak firsthand about this subject. Here at my store, as long as I've been here, never had an ant problem. Not until about 3 weeks ago. I had ants on one of my snack shelves, and I'd come in the morning and without missing a beat, they were just like in the military, as you see in the videos and on National Geographic and so forth. They're walking in a line and they have this pattern going on, and it was very interesting, but nevertheless it was frustrating because I have customers, and you can't have ants when you have customers, or any other bugs or rodents for that matter. Well, anyway, so what I did was I cleaned the ants up. I tried to find out what it was that was attracting the ants, but to no avail, because after I cleaned up the ants, got rid of them, I put a slight amount of pesticide down, which I'm really against, but I'm in a retail establishment and I have food products. I had to do what I had to do to get rid of the ants for that particular day, as it were. Anyway, a couple days passed. I come in the morning, turn the lights on, ants again, same place that they were before, coming across the shelf without missing a beat in the pattern. So this went on. Through all of my efforts, it went on for a couple weeks. And so there were some remedies that I was aware of already, but I didn't want to do them because it would be a little bit too obvious that you had ants or some type of insect in your store. You just can't let your customers see white powder on the floor, which is boric acid. That's what I'm referring to. But I tried a couple of institutional type things, and believe it or not, it did not work. They did not work. So I went back to the basics. So what I did was I created an ant bait, which is actually a killer as well. What was attracting the ants was some candy that I had on the shelf, apparently, because they ended up in this particular box most of the time. And if not that one, there was one beside it. It was a different type of candy. But ants love sugar. A lot of people don't know this. But so, as I always say, know the world in which you live. So that includes the insect world as well, especially if it's affecting your world. So what I did was I took a homemade remedy. I got some sugar, white table sugar, and I got some boric acid, and I mixed it up real well, and I added some water and turned it into a paste. You don't want it to get too hard, so you're going to have to experiment with it depending on how much you're making. So I'm not going to give you a formula in terms of what amount of boric acid to sugar you should use. A tablespoon of boric acid should be sufficient, and then you would put more sugar, of course, to attract the ants. But you want to make sure that you stir it really well to mix it up, so that when they ingest it, they're getting some of the boric acid as well. So you want to add some water to it, stir it up to a consistency until it becomes sort of a pudding type of consistency, even thicker than that. You want to start soft and build it up until it becomes sort of rigid, but not crystallized or very hard. Okay, you want to get you a piece of cardboard about the size of an inch, a small piece of cardboard, cut it up off of an index card or cardboard, corrugated paper, doesn't matter. You want to get you a spoon of that, set it on there. Okay, set that cardboard trap, if you will, or bait station, wherever the ants frequent, so that they can take it back to their nest and the rest of the ants can consume it. Do this for about 4 days, 4 to 5 days. Let me tell you something. The very first day, you should notice the ants' volume diminished. immensely. And then you do the second day. Once you see the sugar has been touched, you'll see even more or less amounts of ants. Third day, fourth day, fifth day, you might see 1 or 2 ants walking around, and you have, voila, dealt with your ant problem successfully. Now, one thing I didn't say, but let me say it now: how ants operate. You are familiar with the term pheromones. All living things put off pheromones. Animals, insects, they put off odors. Okay, ants follow each other, not because they see the ant in front of them and they just say, oh, come on, the rest of y'all, let's go. No, they follow each other based on scent. When the first ant is putting off a pheromone or odor, second ant follows and it does the same thing, and the rest of them follow. When you spray vinegar, white vinegar mixed with water, in the area that the ants in your home or your business are trafficking through, it disorients the ants, and they can't follow each other in that pattern anymore because they can't get the scent, because they can't stand things that have a strong odor, and it messes up their sense of smell. So white vinegar and water, spray it in the area that they travel, and it's going to confuse them, so they won't be able to continue that routine that they normally do. Another thing that you can do is put down the spice called cinnamon. Put the spice cinnamon in the area that they frequent, and that's going to disrupt their pattern as well, because cinnamon has an odor that ants can't stand. That's just 2 things that you can use: cinnamon and white vinegar. So you can pour that cinnamon down on a little plate somewhere where the ants frequent. They won't go anywhere near it. So be creative with these remedies. But the first one that I gave you, the boric acid, which is tetraborate, you can buy that. It's called 20-mule borax. Tetraborate, which is a mineral, it will kill the ants. As a matter of fact, it'll kill other insects as well, but we're talking about ants. You mix the the tetraborate or the boric acid with the sugar, mix it up into a paste with some water, place it down where the ants typically will frequent, and your ant problem is gone. This is Brother Teach Me. I said teach me. This is Brother Teacher. I can teach myself too. But anyway, this is Brother Teacher. Let me know how beneficial this information was to you. So long.